Hey there everyone, this is Life. Welcome back to my playthrough of Eternatus 3: The Drowned City. Today we are going to do a lot of the Infoport stuff. It's going to be a lot, and I mean it because it's probably one of the most walkthrough heavy needed parts of the game if you want to find everything. Or you could just, you know, and it's also really hard to just get into and figure out, so we're going to be doing a lot of that today. First we're going to stop by and see Maxine, a name suggestion from somebody from the ITL forums, no doubt. This Maxine here is going to be a person who deals with her wares. Until we find out her actual name, we're just going to call her Maxine, because the story behind that is Maxine on the ITL forums, Into the Labyrinth forums, uses the shopkeeper from Napeer's firm as her avatar. So, works for me. I see the connection, and I think it's a good idea. Don't think Missy has anything for us. No, not yet. We'll get things from her eventually. Oh, well, this is second floor stuff, so we can't really deal with that just yet. Deal with that soon, though. So let us enter the Infoport and get this gravy train rolling. He tells us that this is Enver, Armroad's largest trading port. The Calamity, this is a kind of a plot point. Since then, many have worked to reopen trade routes, but nobody has gotten around to actually making maps for it, and this is where you come in. And he wants you to come up with a name for your ship. Usually he's going to say that I'm aboard the ITL, which is going to be true in this case as well. ITL stands for Into the Labyrinth. It is an Eternatus fan site. I'm not going to put any links or anything in the description because I only want the people who take the effort to find it, but, you know. Though we're counting on you to restore Armroad's name as the Ocean City. And look at how much not math this is. Like, really? Like, there hasn't been a well-established trade routes or maps yet. I don't know how long ago this Calamity was, but you are really far behind, my good friend. Anyways, there's a bunch of completion logs here. So, if you ever want to know if you've completed this place, if you get all 3 of these completely filled out, you win the game, essentially. Let's go set sail. Essentially, the place... We're gonna get into this. He's also gonna give us a flag, that's fine. Just keep your eyes on the prize. He doesn't really... Well, the game's gonna give us a tutorial, of course. So, we have... This is going to be like food. This is how long you can last out onto the ocean, how many turns you can spend out there. And this is a just random item. I find the fishing flag completely worthless. It's free, so it won't get in your way, but it's kind of worthless. And we set sail. And this is kind of like the Labyrinth, except outside and on the sea. And there's no walls, only islands, which kind of count as walls. Set up in the vast ocean. A small ship. Duty is to chart the boundless ocean, recording all of its things, as I've mentioned before. And we're going to start with the area around Armroad. Objective is to explore the seas, filling the map on the bottom screen. Read the controls? Yes. Right, so essentially you advance and you can turn the ship to see different parts of the ocean. You can fish on spots, you can interact with islands, and that's all there is to it. And of course, the default is set to yes instead of no. And what do I do now is probably the first question that comes to many people's head. And really the answer is not much. We're gonna go up here and grab the fish that spawned up here. We can't actually do anything up here. We're gonna go here and there's going to be a soldier who will greet us. But actually there will be nobody who will greet us, so this island is pointless right now. So, it really just wants you to just blunder around until you find the lighthouse that was being talked about. Like, you know, right there. And if you try to visit the lighthouse, you're going to crash and burn, so don't do that. We have another island north to us, it's not important just yet. Now, after you see the lighthouse, things get interesting. It's very easy to find and locate the lighthouse to trigger this. he's going to tell you that there are sailors on a small island that can help you go forward. Just surmising what he says, because I've done this a million times, and would rather not sit around and actually read it. Though it can be important what he says, so I made sure not to go through the text too fast. But now we have to go to this island, and there's going to be soldiers here who will give us dried peas, which will let us go a whole 2 extra turns on this cruel, cruel ocean. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here, and we're going to kind of map from here. It's something I like doing. Whenever you get the opportunity, map as much of the area around you as you can, because this place is really big and open, and knowing where things are is a really big deal. So you grab your dried peas. It's going to be slightly more expensive, but you know, the amount of cost you sink into this is going to become less and less as you do it, trust me. Now we're going to follow Armor Road around the west side, and this is very important because if you don't do this, you can't progress, and it's really annoying. Right, so the only reason you have red flowers in your arsenal is because this island is the only place that uses it. The Armor Road Island is the only place where it's really kind of appropriate to use the red flowers, because, you know, the island is littered in it. Like, look at it. Look at how many flowers are here. Have you ever seen enough flowers in one lifetime? Unfortunately, the fish move, so we can't get all of them. But you want to come along this west side. Also, we've technically completed the island. Hooray. You come along the west side, go all the way here, and this is where you need to go. Here is going to be some Armor Road cedars. You cut down these cedars, and it's going to give you access to something later. It's also going to give you some money for right now. So there's the cedar that you need to continue, and then there's all of this mess. So as I said before, you kind of want to map as much as possible. It just makes your life easier down the line, so you don't have to do it on the fly or have to worry about there being seaweed in your way. You will know in advance. Now, as in the labyrinth where I said you can kind of just go forward, map your surroundings, go forward, map your surroundings, you really do need to try to map your surroundings from afar on the ocean. It just makes things a little bit much easier. Now take your biscuits out to save a little bit of tin in, and come to this island, and by using this wood to help this guy fix his fence or something, he explains that the sheep's pen has been deteriorated and needs good cedar wood to fix it. And thus, because we have gotten this wood, we can get this sheep cheese from this old man. If you come here first before you get the wood, he'll tell you that his fence needs fixing, and that he needs wood to do it. So, here's where you get the cheese. There's actually multiple reasons for this event, so we're just going to mark this as 1, 2, and 3 as we unlock its events successfully. With this cheap cheese, we can actually make even more progress. This is where things get expensive, though, and where the trial and error comes, you know, really expensive to do. So, knowing what you're doing is kind of paramount. It's also kind of impossible. The flag's taken into effect and spawned an extra fish somewhere. Where, hell if I know. The game won't tell you. Well, it will tell you if you've been there, but it didn't spawn in a place where we could take advantage of it. So, with this cheap cheese, move carefully, go about this way, go north, then go straight west. If you run into some fish, that's awesome, but don't count on it. Palm trees, and then there's the lighthouse itself. Now, that lighthouse is our objective. It's not perpetually mentioned by that flag there. So we're going to try to reach there. And because I know the optimal route, we'll just go. It's going to take us here. And taking those currents are very important, because that will save you a few turns, and you need to save as many turns as possible. Otherwise, you actually can't reach this lighthouse. And that goes outside of our vision. Okay, after mapping this mess, you map this mess of currents, and we look good so far. So in order to get to the lighthouse, we just take this insane route that requires the cheap cheese. You can't actually move anymore, so check this, and you're behind the lighthouse, and you won't be attacked by the bird. If you went in front of the lighthouse, of course, you'd be attacked by the bird, and this would have been for nothing. Mark the path on our map, and return to this guy. He's going to congratulate us and give us a foremast, which will allow us to go even further. And 500 N, just to make this monetarily worthwhile if you accidentally wasted a few shots. Got a few hot-blooded adventurers gathering at the port. Try their luck. If you're ready now, you should try lending them a hand. quest called Sequest can be accepted with the port. You can do this later. Okay, this is another neat thing about doing the sea area, is you unlock Sequest, and essentially, I don't think I'm actually able to do one. I think they're too strong. Well, there's no harm, I just saved my game, so let's try one out. Why don't we? Nope, we died. Well, yeah. Like, that's the least consequence. It's a slap in the face. It's not going to do much to me. Like, look, we're right back where we were. So, even though I failed miserably at killing the sea boss because I wasn't interested in keeping my people alive or something like that, we can continue playing the game as normal. So, let's continue setting sail and finish this up. Now, we can go get a bunch of stuff now that we can have access to the foremast. I don't remember if we can reach... No, I don't think we can reach the lime fruits without the thing, so it's worth getting a few things. Okay, so this time we're going to sail to the right, as opposed to any other direction. And we're going to meet a new place, and this is going to give us a new objective. I think we have to be one more over. As you can see, the currents... No, the currents go away. Currents go that way for like 4 spaces. It's conjoined right here by up current that goes a few spaces. There is a island just outside of our reach again. And then there's... move over this way. And then there's this. See a windmill thing in a town, this must be Batavia. And because I can't remember the names of anything, I'm gonna label it as Batavia. And we'll be there eventually, not this trip, but next trip. Now this episode's going to be mighty on the long side, because sea exploration is a big deal. So let's keep going. I'm gonna bump into this island, check it out. Easy to investigate it, you can explore, yes we will. Go into the island, investigate island. And we get bull ants. Very nice. There's 2 sets of ants on this space. We'll get the other ones later, because I think you can only get 1 at a time. Gonna go down here, and we're gonna do some extra stuff on this western side. There's a bit of free stuff that we want to get, so that's why we're here. First off, right here is going to be some pepper. Now this pepper is important for more reasons than just finding it, but it also gives a lot of money, so it's going to make up for the entire trip by itself, essentially. So you can call this a money run, if you will. So be sure to get this black pepper here. I'm gonna map this little sideways island over here. Kind of go something like this. And it's littered with palm trees. Now, there's nothing really spectacular about any of the islands to our right. It's just kind of there to exist, you know? What's really important is this island right here, where we will get some raisins. At least quickly just fill this in. Middle-aged woman spots our ship, gives us raisins. We thank her, and we get the raisins. Raisins are just like sheep cheese, except they're cheaper to use. So it's worth getting these, except the fact that you will only use these raisins once. Which is, you know, another thing. That is, you're only going to use them once if you're following what I'm doing. Because I'm going to get something even cheaper than that momentarily. Now, we're going to kind of explore this area. There's not much we can actually do. We can just kind of map it out, which is good enough. So map. Severe currents and raging time. Yeah, you wouldn't notice that by doing the very first thing ever. Somebody has changed the face of the world, and we aren't the only city to suffer from its effects. Batavia, trade flourished with them because they're so close, but there isn't just don't know a safe way there. Now there's actually a very easy safe way there. Now we're gonna get 330, and we got these raisins. So take the raisins, set sail, go to Arm Road, do this. It's only gonna cost you 70 because the raisins are so cheap. So now you're not spending an arm and a leg to get here. You're spending about 50 less. What you're gonna want to do is just like 5 swift movements. Apparently, I don't know if they accounted for this. Oh, let's go further than I expected. But what you can do is you can come down here. Now, typically with the Foremast, you would overshoot the currents over there, and thus you would just end up being, you know, boned. However, what you can also do is you can abuse the terrain to only move 1 space at a time, then use the Foremast's speed to get right here before the pirate ship even reaches it, and you're home free. I think you were meant to actually come here much later, or, you know, just there might have been a different way to get around this ship, but I never learned that way. I always learned it this way, because this way is, like, super easy. We can map the backside of this island from where we can see, so just plop down some icons. On the other side's this. That spot's rather important, but we haven't gotten there yet, and there's no reason to mark it just yet. There's some more currents behind the ship. I'm not really worried about mapping that at this moment. There's some shoals here and diagonal to it. And we have reached Batavia. This is, of course, going to unlock a new sea quest that we can't have the wild possible imagination to do. He's going to congratulate us and give us sauerkraut, I think. Yes, sauerkraut is, like, the next best thing. Salted cabbage invented by a Batavian merchant. It is extremely useful as food for voyages, so don't just snack on it. Alright, now with sauerkraut, you can get the next best food, which is going to be limes. Sauerkraut, now, this is going to be the most expensive run, but this is also one of the most important ones for making sure you get the most out of it, so... We're gonna do this, we're gonna go to Armroad because that's the only place we can go. Now, note how much money we've been accumulating just by doing all of this, and by doing it all in one try, because I know the routes. So now, we go east, we're gonna go south, once, twice. We can't quite get this without screwing up the route entirely, so we're gonna ignore it. Go south about this many times. You can kind of map ahead if you want to. I'm not super worried about mapping this here, but this is here. Turn right. You're gonna arrive at these islands that we saw earlier. Keep going right. Or I say right, but we turned right earlier, and I thought we're going west. You can get some screw pine from here. Be sure to pick this up. This is really easy to reach. You can technically get this once you get the sheep cheese for the first time if you wanted to, but it's not worth the money. I think this was a way to compensate you if you got the sheep cheese and you explored this way instead. They kind of did litter around the items kind of such that you could run into them by mistake. Okay, we have another Tetris piece island here. It's going to be, once again, just filled with nothing but pine trees. Move over, up, around. You're gonna see more of the currents from here, so you can label it as such now. Turn south. This is where the route differs. Check here. You're gonna want to treat the whale, and you're going to get a harpoon. This is Ned's harpoon. It's in good condition, and you get it out. This harpoon is awesome. It allows you to kill a certain fish much easier. We haven't run into the Tanyons yet, but once we do, this will be a useful tool for taking them out quickly and efficiently. So now we go west once more, kind of take a look around. You can see this pirate ship. That pirate ship will aggro on you, but he's not important. Like, oh no, he's aggroed on me, whatever will I do? He's so far away and we move twice as fast. There's going to be this seaweed clump over here. Be sure to mark around it. So it's going to look something like this. We're going to have to scroll the map over because it doesn't do that by itself. And make the perfect map. There we go. Can't do anything from here. Go south once more. I'm going to run into this series of mess. I think we have enough turns for this. So I'm going to come over here real quick and grab the stuff that is on this particular peninsula of a place. We don't know if the island ends here because we can't go further south. There is a border, if you will. So we're going to map this area here. Lots of icon placing in this episode. And it's breadfruit. Get it. You're going to be a nice chunk of money right here. Once again, you want to make the most out of this run. You needed the sauerkraut to do this anyways. It's just that you can use the extra 3 turns for getting the stuff that I'm getting now. There's nothing actually in the south corner, so we can just start labeling these mountainsides to the left of our ship, as well as the Greenlands thereafter. We can go north 1 spot, that's nice. We map the rest of this. It's going to look something like this. There's going to be these 2 rocks here that we can't do anything about. Now, and one thing I really like about the ocean is that it looks like the islands follow a trend. As you go to this right side, you see the palm trees. As you go to the right, you're going to see mountains. As you go over here, you're going to see steeps over cliffs. Like, the terrain in general seems well done. Come over here. Now, this is the vitally important place where you want to be. It doesn't matter which way you face, because the event is located on the tile that I'm on, and not on these trees. Even though the event involves these trees, and you have to be facing them to activate it. So traveling south on the high seas, we come across a small dogleg of an island. Dogleg, pardon me. Though too small to be habitable, it is dense with trees, and there's a citrus. Lime trees. Now these lime fruits are just like sheep cheese and raisins, except only cost 20. Now that is an insanely good deal. Also, I mapped this wrong. That is an insanely good deal, and getting these lime fruits as soon as possible will make a lot of explorations in the future very, very cheap, so be sure to get these on, like, your 4th total voyage. So after making an insane run with the sauerkraut, where we only get 135 in return, which isn't enough for the entire voyage, however, you also got the harpoon from that, which is worth, and we also got the lime fruits, which is very worth, because it only costs 20 to move 16 spaces. That's an 8 turns for 10 yen return. Like, that's awesome. That's better than biscuits, every time. Okay, so, we're not quite done. There's one last thing we can do. There's actually many things we can do. But the last thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the final Sequest related place that we can go at this moment. Actually, it might not be. I don't remember if you can reach the islands up here or not, so we might do an extra trip to get up there. So let's go west, and go south so we can pick up these fish, even if it's only 1. Move onward, and because it's nighttime, we're going to encounter a very specific event right around on the next spot. There's actually an item on this island to our right, but more on that later. But if we're lucky, we can get some salt here. Yes, we got the salt. Now, this is like a 50, 50, 20, 80, or whatever chance of getting this light salt. So it's not like all the time you're gonna get this. Just note that every time you voyage and it's nighttime, you have a chance of getting these light salt here. And because it's so easy to get to this spot, and you're going to go through this spot so many times in the future, you're technically going to run into it. Like, no exception. Okay. I think I messed this up. Because there's a very specific way to go through here. Yeah. Do this. South. Now, there's a lot of important things about this islands right here. We'll get into in a moment. I might have messed up the route. So let's just start by labeling all the things you can see from here. I might have messed this up. I wouldn't be surprised if I messed this up, but probably did. Anyways, oh, there's a Tanyan here. That changes everything. We might go ahead and just detour. If I've messed up this route, I may as well get this Tanyan, so... Or at least try to get this Tanyan, so hang on. I'll label this. We're gonna get the amber from here. Now, there supposedly went through some perilous plight to get that, but really, you're gonna get it every time. No, I don't think we have it. I think we're off by just 1 movement because I screwed up 1 movement. That's okay. We can do this again. And there's iron ore here. I think there was an event on the space I was just on, but I completely missed it. Let's try fishing this canyon out. I didn't need to move. Shit. Move to the Tanyan, noticeably weaker. And he killed us. And thus we take... Whenever you crash, you end up paying, like, double for the trip. So, like, if it took you 50 to sail, it's gonna cost you 50 if you get your ship damaged. Oh well. But we weakened the Tanyan, so this time we should be able to catch the Tanyan. Tanyan is ours. Meat times 9, skin times 4, liver times 1. And that's going to yield with some great monetary results. So we can see that this is flat-bottomed, that there's more stuff in the south that we can't quite reach, and that proves that. Okay, so we're gonna walk away with that Tanyan with, like, 1,300 in. That was way more than the 300 it took for me to finally get to him and just finish him off. So getting a Tanyan is extremely worth it. Now how do you actually get to that city now? Alright, the exact route to that city, now that I'm done bumbling around and killing Tanyans and finding iron ore, is this. You just simply follow the same route that I've been doing, like so, except you go north at the light top spots, follow the currents, do the same thing as before where you go south, then west, then south. Go south until you meet the whirlpool. You won't actually land on the whirlpool because of what you did earlier by going north into the currents. I don't think they anticipated you being able to do this, by the way. Move over 1, move down 1, move right 1, and you've arrived. That's all there is to it. You can also see that there's some more characteristics of the land that we can map here. I think we've gotten everything of this area, actually, except for the things in the back that we're not really worried about, so with that, we can discover this place, whose name I forget. Tortoga, I think. It's dangerous to jump into the unknown low on food. You decide to settle for charting a route here for now and return to Armor to report. Legendary case, Tortoga Island. Pirates King treasure, something, something, something. Give it a shot if you give it a chance. Oh right, so that gives us yet another sea boss that we're not going to actually do. Alright, so before we end off, I want to see, I don't remember if you can reach the... I think you can. Maybe we should... I'm going to bring the sauerkraut and just beeline for it. I don't remember the exact route or if you can do it in 16 turns or not. But the route, I imagine, is like going to Batavia, because going down here and getting all this movement off these currents for free is really, really useful. Which is why I'm thinking I might not have needed to use sauerkraut. And you come all the way over here. There's going to be some harmless pirate ships that become important later, but are kind of irrelevant for now. So you can ignore this guy, he's going to completely ignore you. So this way, yeah, we can easily... Violent current blocks our path forward. Now, I think they made this message with the intention that you would come from this side from over here, instead of from over here. So, if you see that saying block and it's not blocking you, then that's why. Squinting, you can see from many ships moored at a harbor beyond the current. Must be... Are you Tahia? The well-known commercial port. You can try to find a way there if you like, or you can explore more easily accessible regions. Now this is actually, like, so easily accessible you could reach it with your sheep cheese and your foremast. And this event is kind of cheesy, but I like it, so let's trigger this one. While sailing in search of unknown lands, you come across a rather large island. You can see some orange-haired monkeys looking to your ship with an amiable fashion. If you want to get closer to the monkeys, you could disembark and approach them. If you approach the monkeys, you lose turns. However, we're so close to the port area that I don't care about losing turns, so you can see what they do. When they disembark, the monkeys don't run away. In fact, they run towards you. The monkeys have white faces and flat noses, and looking at them makes you smile. And while we spend time playing with the monkeys, you return to the ship and it's been ransacked. Regretting that you left the ship unguarded, you return to the voyage with what little remains, and it decreases your number of turns by 3, which is no big deal, because we use sauerkraut. Actually, I think even with lime fruits, that would be enough turns to get out. So that was awesome. Okay, so we can look around, that's where we need to be. Okay. With that, we can discover this place. Wow, I'm such a dweeb. Okay, we have arrived at Adayuhaya. The thriving, or whatever. The thriving commercial port. It took perseverance to navigate. The sun-ocean currents to establish a route here. Note on the route to Adayuhaya. I think it assumes that you're going to do this for more than one try, and that's probably true. By the way, the island this is on does that. Data Armored's return to glory is now one step closer. Reached Adayuhaya, long history, famous ports for voyaging ships. The carpenters of Adayuhaya are quite skilled. Thanks to you, we should start to see activity along Adayuhaya soon. So I took the liberty of contacting them and ordered some improvements for your ship. Don't worry, it's just like a way of saying thanks. Besides, the carpenters can't come over until your work in Adayuhaya is done. We're just gonna have to be patient for a while. Okay, so we're officially out of places to go. We can technically do some more port stuff and find some more stuff for the freebies, but there's really no other places we can discover. Those are those 4 places: the lighthouse from over here, Batavia, Adayuhaya, and Chitoga Island are the 4 places you can discover at first. And for reference, you weren't meant to get to this place. You weren't meant to get here. I think it was a design oversight that the currents up here were just long enough to essentially put you in a good spot. If that current didn't exist, you wouldn't be able to get here in 16 turns. Instead, you were meant to come to a place over here, obtain some kind of cannon, and blow that guy up, and then get there on like something on 20 or 24 turns. But with that out of the way, we can essentially say goodbye, but there's one more thing we can do. We can come over here, and there's going to be a Tanyan hunting thing, and this is going to give us some more free Radney threats, so we'll do this real quick. Essentially, it's near Armroad, blah blah blah, don't really care. And you don't even need the harpoon for this one either, so just go in. I'm going into the completely wrong place, pardon me. So come in here, set sail, take the biscuits because it's the cheapest. Foremast is completely irrelevant, set sail. Move left like twice, press the A button a few times, and you get 8 skin. Okay, so you have to beat the sea quest first before the birds stop attacking you. Good to know. Good to know, indeed. Alright, with that out of the way, we've got that, sold its skin, and we can get some free Radney threads and experience. I think this is actually a decent chunk of experience, too. Now, Missy says some interesting stuff. I'm probably not going to read the quest dialogue until later when it becomes good. I'm gonna get Triumphant Pride 2 because Gandra is finally caught up with the rest of the party. And that seems to be everything for the day. This was a lot of stuff. There's going to be, like, so many... Okay, in the description, if you ever want, in every future Sea episode, including this one, in the description, there's going to be timestamps to every single item that I find on screen. So, if you're ever looking for something, and this LP has been completed, you can come to this LP or the previous one, find a Sea episode, and look for the timestamps of what you're looking for, and you'll find it. So hopefully that's one convenient thing I'm doing for you guys that you guys can appreciate and use. So hey there everyone, this has been Live for As always, thank you for watching. Next time we are going to be continuing exploration of the labyrinth because there's nothing left for us to do. I'm going to see you guys then.